Well, hello, and welcome to another episode with your girl, Audrey Codner from GED Math Tutoring, here to celebrate our Martin Luther King and his supposedly birthday. So, if anything, if you are new to my lovely little part of this universe called social media, I generally come on here and I have some examples of problems that you generally see in Algebra 1, sometimes Algebra 2, as well as the GED or any kind of high school equivalency exam, the ACT, the SCT, the ASVAB, the ACCUPLACER, the TEAS test, the HESI test, anything that has to deal with algebra, I usually just try to display it. So what you do is you look at the problem. Try to break it down to the best of your ability. And then in the chat, you put what you think the answer is. Do you think it's A? Do you think it's B, C, or D? And then I go over it. Yeah. So basically, I'm really trying to help you get past this whole thing called math phobia and just breaking things down to you step by step. So, how's my day today? It's going all right, B-ball. It's going all right. So this is for basically anyone that's doing algebra. Okay, everyone's always asking me what grade, because here's my thing. There are some kids that are taking Algebra 1 as 6th graders. Some people are doing it as 7th graders. Some people are doing it as 9th graders. So you can't really go based off of grades. Okay, I usually try to go based off of content. So let's take a look at this first problem. So we need to solve for x. So we have 3 times x minus 4, which is less than or equal to 5x plus 2. So as we break everything down, is my answer A, x is greater than or equal to negative 7, B, x is less than or equal to negative 7, C, x is greater than or equal to 7, or D, x is less than or equal to 5. So you can go ahead and put your answer in the chat. And if you're not too sure, no worries. Go ahead and put a question mark, and that lets me know how far deep into the breakdown I really need to go. So, hey, Freedom Land, how are you? So we got some A's, we got some B's. Hello, Big G Money. So good to see you guys again. Unknown, we got A. Sir Law, we got A. Lil. We got D, we got B, we got B. Me, thank you for your honesty, and thank you for your honesty. Is it Xian? The same with B. Shake, we're saying A. Hey, Big Al, how are you? It's been a minute. Okay. All right. Had to get new Nick again. Oh, okay. Oh, you had to get a new thing again. I'm telling you, that's the whole thing with TikTok. Okay, Amanda, you're thinking it's C, unknown. When you distribute, it's 3x minus 12. Okay, Stray Kids fan is thinking it's D. We got B, Sammy, we're saying B, Cora. All right, this one stumped me. Okay, Happy, I got you. So B, sorry, not a problem, no apologies needed. Hey, Candy, how are you? How's things going with the class? All right, Jacqueline saying C, A. TJ Rockstar, okay, saying something with happy. All right, user 53, thank you so much for that. We got some A's, we got some B's. All right, miss all classes. Oh, not a problem. Hey, you got to do what you got to do. Trust and believe. So let's take a look. So first thing, we have distribution that's going on here. So I'm going to distribute this 3 to everything in its parenthesis. So that means 3 times x, that gives us 3x. Let me turn that down a little bit. 3 times 4, that gives me 12. And we're keeping the less than or equal to, and I'm bringing down the 5x plus 2. So now, there we go. So now we need to get our x's on one side of the equal sign. So if I take a look at my answers, I notice all of them are on the left-hand side. So that means I need to move this 5x over to the 3x. So I'm going to do the opposite. I'm not looking at this plus sign. Your signage is always on the left of the number. So if I don't see anything there, that means it's positive. So I'm going to subtract 5x on both sides. So now we have 3x minus 5x. That gives me a negative 2x. Bring down my minus 12, my less than or equal sign, and the positive 2 that's left over. So now I want to keep my x and have it be by itself, aka isolation. So I want to move this minus 12 to the other side. So I have to do the inverse of minus by adding. So whatever I do on one side, I have to do on the other side of the inequality. 0, but I still have this negative 2x that can come down. My less than or equal to 2 plus 12, that gives me my 14. Thanks everyone for checking in. Thanks for joining the fan club. Okay, so I'm about to tell you, not Lulu, okay? So if anything, we have negative 2x, so that means negative 2 times x. So in order for me to isolate my x, I have to do the inverse. So the inverse of multiplication is division. So I'm dividing by a negative 2. Now, this is why I say that when you divide or multiply by a negative number, your inequality has to change direction. The reason why you're doing all this is you're trying to find something that's going to give you a true statement. And I'm going to show you in a moment. So if we have 14 divided by negative 2, that's going to give me a negative 7. So let's play devil's advocate. Just be a little naughty right now. Let's say that we forgot to flip the sign. And say our sign was less than. So we're saying x is less than or equal to negative 7. So if I wanted to pick a number that's less than negative 7, let's say negative 8, okay? Remember, the numbers get smaller as you go to the left. So if I say negative 8, and I try to plug in negative 8s for the x's of the original, I want to see if I'm going to get a true statement. So if I plug it in, I will get 3 parentheses, negative 8 minus 4 is less than 5, negative 8 plus 2. Okay, so negative 8 minus 4, that gives me a negative 12. And negative 12 times 3 gives me a negative 36. Keeping my signage, so it'll be less than or equal to. Now I have 5 times negative 8, that gives me negative 40 plus 2. Negative 40 plus 2, that gives me negative 38. So we have negative 36 is less than or equal to negative 38. Is that a true statement? Okay, I just picked a number that was less than negative 7. Okay, is that a true statement? Hey Janice, how are you? Yusuf, thank you. Saying no. Michael, hey, welcome in. Saying no. Hello, Jacinda, how are you doing? Okay, no, it's not true. Because if you think of a number line, you have 0 smack in the middle. Going to the right, your numbers are getting larger, all the way to positive infinity. Going to the left, your numbers are getting way smaller, all the way to negative infinity. So negative 36 is here, whereas negative 38 is there. Negative 38 is smaller than negative 36. So this is a false statement. So when you're doing inequalities, you're doing it to the point that you are trying to get a true statement. Okay? So this, we have to flip the inequality every time we multiply or divide by a negative, because we're trying to get a true statement. If I wanted to pick a number that was greater than negative 7, I'm going to make it easy for myself. I'm going to pick 0. So if I go, I'm going to have 3 times 0 minus 4 is, forgot I had to change the sign, is greater than or equal to 5 times 0 plus 2. So 0 minus 4, that gives me a negative 4. 5 times 0 is 0. 0 plus 2 is 2. So now I have negative 12 is greater than or equal to 2. Is that a true statement? Wait, hold on. So negative 12. Wait, did I flip? I did not flip. Did I flip? I didn't flip. So it can't be 0. Yes, it can. Because it's 0. It's 2. What did I do wrong, guys? Because I've been doing math all day. Negative 12 is not greater than or equal to 2. That's a false statement. What did I do wrong? I did flip. That's probably why. Negative 12 is not greater than a positive 2. That's false. That's false. That's false. Because I think, because I flipped. Thank you. See, I've been telling you, I've been doing math all day. It's dangerous right now. There we go. Because I was supposed to do the original problem. There we go. All right, I'm back to it. Okay, because the original problem is less than or equal to. See, I'm not AI. I make mistakes too. I'm a human being. Okay. So when I plugged the 0 in for the x's, and I came with this part for the simplifying, I got negative 12 is less than or equal to 2. That is a true statement because I didn't want to flip my inequality. Okay. So that's why when you multiply or divide by a negative number, you have to change the direction of the sign. See what happens when you ask a question? I'm going to try to answer it. Okay. Okay, here we go. So, all right. So here's another one, system of equations. So for those that are trying to go after their GED or the ASVAB or even the ACCUPLACER, you want to score, especially for my GED people, you want to score well on these. These are those 4-point questions, okay? These are the questions that most people will skip and they wonder why they can't pass the GED because you skipped the 4-point questions, all right? It's completely designed. If you don't score well on any of the 4-point questions, you're not going to pass the GED, okay? That's the secret right there. Now, to solve a system of equations, we can do it one of 3 ways. We can do it by graphing. That takes too much time. We can do it by substitution, depending on the situation, or we can do it with elimination. Now, since we're trying to find the value of x or y, I like to do the elimination. It's clean, it's easy, and especially when you got multiple choice questions, if you find one value, you look at your answer choices and you might be able to get your answer right away. Okay, remember, this is a time thing. So I notice here my y's are basically the same type. They both have a 1 that's understood to be in front of them, and one is positive and one is negative. So in order for these y's to cancel out, I need to add the equations together, just like how we used to add back in the day. So now we have 2x plus 1x. So that gives me 3x. The y's will cancel because a positive and a negative will give me 0. I don't need the 0 because I got that 3x there. So now I got 7 plus 2. That gives me 9. So we're saying it's D, we're saying it's A, we're saying it's X, thinking it's D. Okay. So we are going to divide both sides by 3. So that means x is equal to 9 divided by 3, which gives me 3. So this is when I stop and I take a look at my ordered pairs. Now, for the ordered pairs, remember, just like the alphabet, x always comes before y. So I'm taking a look at my x's to see which one has a 3. Oh, it's D. That's my answer. Circle it, bubble it, click it, move on. All right. Okay. Like you said, D. Okay. Well, sometimes brown sugar. Sometimes it depends. Some people say, yeah, find X first. It doesn't matter. You have to take, just like in life, take on what the situation's giving you. Okay? All right? If you got a chance to run or you got a chance to fight, which one you're going to do? You got to make a decision. All right? So always take a look what's already there. Okay? All right. So now, I'm going to take a look at this one. Sorry I didn't even give you guys a chance. I've just been on like tutor mode. Like from 9 to 3 o'clock. No breaks. Straight tutoring. Mama's tired. Mama is tired. All right, so let's see. For this number 22, solve for x. So we have x squared minus 5x minus 14 equals 0. So is your answer A, B, C, or D? And if you're not too sure, go ahead and put a question mark into the chat. Can AI solve these correctly? Now, here's the thing. No. Because I have one young lady that's trying to, I forgot what she's trying to go. Oh, she's doing the PERT test in Florida. And she was like, oh, I found some stuff. I typed in some stuff in AI, ChatGPT to be precise. And I just wanted to do some practice problems. I'm like, all right, not a problem. I'm like, okay, we finished up the session. And then we started looking at it. Dear sweet baby Jesus. Some of them were good. Some of them were really good. But some of them, the answers were completely wrong. And then you go into ChatGPT and be like, how do you solve this? Because you're saying that the solution's supposed to be the point where the lines intersect. And they're like, oh yeah, well the line and the parabola are both crossing at 2, 0. Well, the line was, but the parabola was nowhere near the first quadrant. It was completely in the second quadrant. Yeah, it's all kinds of craziness. All right. Yeah, you have to do it on your own, at least to try to figure it. Now, I'm seeing some A's, I'm seeing some D's. Okay, a huge mixture of A's and D's. I don't know why we're dealing with the whole blurriness. I thought it was me going through a stroke. There we go. Thank you, whoever said that. All right. Okay, so we got some A's, we got some B's. All right, so here we go. Now, when you see your highest degree is to the second power, okay, that means we're going to have to factor. So when you factor, you always want to ask yourself, one, do I have a GCF? So if I have a GCF, awesome. Let's get that together. But we don't have a GCF because there's a 1, there's a -5, there's a -14. The only things that 1, 5, and 14 have in common is 1. So that means I should have 2 solutions. And those 2 solutions are going to be represented by 2 parentheses. Each parenthesis is going to represent a factor. So this is when I like to do the AC method. And you're probably saying, well, what's the AC method? Well, that's all based on what's called the standard form. So the number that's in front of the x squared, that's going to be your a. In that case, it's a 1. The number that's a coefficient in front of the x, that's going to be your b. In this case, it's a -5. And the c is going to be your constant, which in this case is a -14. So if I multiply my a and my c together, I'm going to put its answer right here, which is a -14. And the b, I'm going to rewrite it under here. So now I need to think, what two numbers multiply will give me -14, and the same numbers add together will give me -5. Okay. So we got -7 and 2, 2 and -2, 7 and -2, -7 and 2, -7 and 2. You're saying none of the above. Careful, Stefan. So -7 and 2, I think it's B, -7 and 2. So, all right. So, knowing our multiplication, we got 7, we got 2. That will give us 14, but we need a -14, so one of them has to be negative. This is how we got to figure out which is going to be negative. Because when they add these two numbers together, it needs to give me this b value, that -5. That's why the 7 is going to be negative. So now you're going to take these two numbers and plug it into each of the parentheses. Okay? So one factor of this is going to be x minus 7. The other factor is going to be x plus 2. But now they want us to solve, not just factor it. They want us to solve for it. So that means I need to set each of those parentheses equal to 0. So it's going to look like this. We have x minus 7 is equal to 0. And we have x plus 2 is equal to 0. So we're going to solve both of those for 0. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to add 7 on both sides. So we got x is equal to 7. And over here, we're going to subtract 2 on both sides. And we got x is equal to -2. These are your two solutions. How did I know I was going to get two solutions? Right from the very beginning, when my highest degree or exponent was to the second power. So your answer is going to be A. Okay. All right. Excellent. We're doing good. All right. Well, thanks for sticking in, guys. I'm liking this. All right. So let's go to the next one. Let me hide this one just so you won't get easily distracted. Let me zoom in quite a bit. All right. Simplify this. Simplify it. You said B. That's okay. What method it's called? It's called the AC method. I'm not naming it myself because you multiply the A and the C. That's why. Okay, so user 45 is saying B. Laura's saying C. We got C, we got D. Run it back. We got C, we got D's, we got D's, we got B's. B, I mean C. Wait, I didn't. Okay, answer is C. We got C, C, B, 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 D, D, B, B. C, 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 B, B, D. Well, mean, thank you, mean. Means I have no idea. We got A's, we got C's, we got B's, we got C's, we got B's, we got a D. Okay, a random D. Hello, Texas Terry. How are you? Okay, Haley's got a B. Okay, we got B's, we got B's, we got D's, we got question marks. There we go. John Williams. All right. Okay. Hello, hello, everyone. Awesome. Now, I was doing some research last night between fractions and exponents. Those are the most videos that are out here on TikTok. I don't know what this is. But we have a whole expression being raised to the second power. So this is telling me everything inside of that parenthesis is being raised to the second power. Okay, everything inside that parenthesis is being raised to the second power. So this is where we have to start off. So we have to raise the 3 to the second power. Now 3 to the second power, it is not 6. It's not 3 times 2. This is telling me that I'm taking this base of 3 and I'm multiplying itself 2 times. So that means I'm doing 3 times 3, which gives me 9. Once I see that 9, that means D is gone as well as A. So now I'm limiting it between B and C. This is a process of elimination. Now, this x squared being raised to the second power, that means I'm taking this base of x squared and I'm multiplying it to itself 2 times. Now, when you are multiplying exponents, you're practically adding them because x squared is the same as saying x times x. Okay, so this is the first set, this is the second set. How many x's do I have there? I have, me personally, a lot of x's. Just be breaking hearts back in the day. So we have x plus x, x times x times x times x. We're adding the exponents, which takes me x to the 4th. Right now, both of them have x to the 4th. The difference is that y to the 6th or y to the 5th. So now let's take a look at our y's. So they're telling me I'm taking this y to the 3rd and I'm multiplying it to itself 2 times. So y to the 3rd, again, that's 3 y's for this one, 3 y's for that one. How many y's do we have? Hopefully you're saying 6. Okay, this is what's called the extended form. Okay, so hopefully you're able to see what's happening. But there is a shortcut. When you have an exponent being raised to an exponent and they're being separated by a parenthesis, you multiply them. 2 times 2, that gives me x to the 4th. When I have my cube being raised to the second power, it's really 3 times 2, which gives me y to the 6th. Okay? So my answer is going to be B. Okay. When do you add? When you multiply, you add the exponents. Okay, Alex? PTSD. No problem. Don't worry about it. You're totally getting it. Good. Got it right. Yay. No problem. Essence. There you go. Okay. All right, Michaela. All right, like people were fighting you or something. I told y'all. Like, girl, it's math. Calm down. Okay, so you add the exponents when you multiply. But when you have an exponent being raised to an exponent, okay, you multiply the exponents. All right. All right, there we go. Okay, so let me keep it going. All right, definitely wanted to get, because I didn't get a chance to get to these last time. I wanted to come on yesterday, but my internet was acting all kinds of cray, just like how this phone is acting right now. I feel like it wants to glitch on me. All right, okay, Lori. problem. So you thought too fast? Not a problem. Okay. Okay. Yeah, probably. Now, for 24, I want to see what you guys can do. We have the square root of 75 plus the square root of 12. And you're like, ooh, wait a second, Audrey. And I'm like, well, I want to see what you can do first before I put my 2 cents in, because I've been jumping in with the 2 cents lately. All right. So do you think the answer is A, B, C, or D? Okay. Don't worry if you get it right, if you get it wrong, just as long as you get it so you can try to apply it. So I got a bunch of C's, Jasmine with a C, Jazz with a C, Issa with a C, yes, Jay with an A, Raz with an A. Okay, Mean, thank you for, okay, Jacinda's not sure with the C, okay. Big Al's not sure, thank you. Okay, all kinds of X's are saying C. Damn, are you legal? I'm just kidding. Thank you so much for the follow. So I'm seeing C's, London C's, okay, Bling. Not sure. Okay. Okay. If you're not sure, you can put a question mark in there. Okay. I appreciate that. All right. So green bean. Same with the C. Okay. Nope. C. Okay. What grade is this? It's really just a review of like a little bit of algebra. Okay. Especially for people that are going with GED or ASVAB and ACCUPLACER. You know, just a little retouch, refresh. So you can at least feel somewhat confident when you're taking these exams. Okay, you're taking yours tomorrow, Tay Squared. All right, I see you. Okay, just take your time and just do what you're gonna do. All right. Don't worry about I gotta get this score. I gotta get the score, because you won't get the score. All right, psychologically. All right, just go in there, rest up after you're done with this lot. Just when you're done with the lot. And if anything, if you guys can keep on tapping and also keep on sharing, because there might be more people that needs this assistance. All right. So, whole bunch of C's, a couple of sprinkling with some A's. So let me break it down. So, with square roots, in order for you to add or subtract any kind of square roots, aka they're called radicals, they have to have the same radicand, which is what's underneath the radicals. They have to be identical. So obviously, 75 and 12 is not identical, but we can break them down. So if I have the square root of 75, and I want to break them down into 2 radicals, that's going to multiply together to give me my 75. Plus, we're going to do the same thing with the square root of 12. Now, when you break these radicals down, you want to think of a perfect prime combination. So what I mean by perfect radicals, let me come over here. So square root of 1, square root of 4, square root of 9, square root of 16, square root of 25, square root of 36, square root of 49, square root of 64, square root of, where am I? 81. Sometimes I get brain farts too. And we'll just stop at 100, even though we could go square root of 121 for 11, square root of 144. The reason why these are perfect, because I know there is a single number that if I squared it, it will give me a single digit. So if I did the square root of 4, that's going to give me 2, because 2 times 2 gives me 4. Square root of 9 is going to be 3, because 3 times 3 gives me 9. Square root of 16 is 4, because 4 times 4 gives me 16. Same with 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Okay. So we want to break these down. I'm going to see if I can fit everything in. I don't want to make it too small, but I don't want to make it too ginormous. Okay, so 75. Every time I think of 75, I think of 75 cents. And I know that 25, which is basically the equivalent of 3/4. So 25 times 3, that is what's called a perfect, because 25 is perfect. And my prime is the 3. So square root of 25, that gives me a whole number of 5. Remember what we said over here. Square root of 25 is 5. Now, square root of 3. The only way I can break down 3 is 1 in itself. So that's why it's prime. If I can't break it down, I just simply bring it down. Okay. All right. Okay, how did I get 25 from 75? Because 25 times 3 gives me 75. Okay. All right. Everybody all right? Okay. Thank you, T squared. All right. So whatever the joke was, obviously it's not funny. You can do that on someone else's platform, not here. Okay. Math is mathin'? All right, cool. So now we're going to do the square root of 12. So for the square root of 12, we need to think of two numbers, one being perfect, the other one being prime. That can work here. All right, thanks, Mike. Yes, Michaela, there we go. We got 4 and 3. Now here's the thing. You could do 6 and 2, but guess what? You're going to have to break down to 6. You're giving yourself so much work. So if you can understand your perfects and try to figure out which one's going to give you a prime number, beautiful thing. Okay, I'm going to show you in a sec what you can use. So now, square root of 4, we have is 2. Square root of 3, that's prime. So if I can't break it down, I'm going to bring it down. All right. Okay. So now, there we go. I think it's 9I. All right. So now, looking, let me see if I can cover this bad boy up. So we won't get like, there's so much stuff here. Okay, so if I focus right here, so we can focus our attention right here. So like I said, in order for you to add with radicals, you have to have the same radical. Now right here, we got the square root of 3, we got 5 square root of 3 plus 2 square root of 3. Awesome, because if I told you, let's just say, if I said it was like 5x plus 2x, you would tell me that the answer is going to be 7x, right? Same thing is happening right here. But instead of a variable, you're using a radical. So that means you're going to add the 5 and the 2, which gives us the 7. And we're going to keep the square root of 3. This is your answer, which is C. Okay, so when it comes to square roots, you really have to get down with the perfect roots. Okay, all right, no problem. Ooh, Lord. I know, and especially when you haven't been in school for a minute, because usually I try to do a lot of these problems to help people that haven't been in school forever, that are thinking about going back to school. So I try to do something to help out, you know, as best I can. Now, as I said, in order for you to help you with like breaking down these perfect primes, I put together a book. Yes, this is what I do. So if I looked at the square root, let's say square root of 75. Notice the factors of 75 is 1 and 75, 3 and 25, 5 and 15. But notice what's highlighted in red, that 3 and 25. This is what's called, as I like to put it down here, your perfect prime combination for factoring. So now you could just say, all right, one radical is going to be the 25, the other one's going to be the 3. That's how we got this part. If I wanted to do the 12, I can go to my factor sheet. So looking at 12, we got 1 and 12, 2 and 6, 3 and 4. What's in red? 3 and 4. So that means I can use the square root of 4 and the square root of 3. I always like to put my perfect in front because it's an easy transition when I get to the next step. Okay? Where did I get this factor sheet from? I created it. All right? And it's also a part of my whole structure called Algebra at Your Pace. So I have made workbooks. I looked at several workbooks, and the one thing that a lot of people were missing out of some of these workbooks is you need some assistance. Like sometimes they'll give you a whole bunch of problems and they'll give you an answer key, and then you're just like, what am I going to do? So let's say, for instance, let's see if I can find the one with exponents. So once you get into, here we go, we'll go with the square roots. Once you get into this page with the square roots, all you have to do is scan the QR code and it will take you directly to a video which will break down how to do square roots. I also put here just some things for little helpful hints to kind of keep things going as you're breaking stuff down. So then you can take some notes. On the very back of the notes, you can have a practice page. Then I give you some extra practice problems. Nothing too overwhelming, but very close to what is actually being shown on the GED and the ASVAB exams. Then there's an answer key in the back. But the one other thing that I notice a lot of books do not have that I decided to put in is reference pages. So like if you're not that great with your integers, you know, adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing, I got you. If you need some assistance with, as soon as I can turn a page, okay. Really don't have to be a college degree to have that. Okay, so if you need some assistance with the decimal operation, adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing, fractions operation, they're all here as a reminder. And then you have your factor sheet. So my factor sheet, most factor sheets only go to 100. I go all the way up to 200. Okay, because especially when you're dealing with algebra, you got a lot of kids that you're dealing with larger numbers. Then if you can't remember your squares and your square roots, I got you listed right here, boo-boo. Okay, you got your squares, you got your square roots, you got your cubes, you got your cube roots. Okay, if you're terrible at word problems and you don't know what operation is for what word problems, I got you too. And then as an added gift, I put in some more work that we need to do with exponents. So all these exponent flashcards. Okay, so you can have that. Now, if you want to order yours, you can. The link is in the bio. Okay, just go to my link tree. Okay, I'm going to be very transparent. Here's the price list. If you do the physical copy, okay, it's $24.99 because one, all of it is in color. That's another thing. A lot of workbooks are not printed in color. So you have it in color, but also you can get a digital copy of it. Okay, and if you do the digital copy, make sure you look at the thank you page because that's where the link is. You just have to copy and paste that. All right. So all of this is here and the link is in the bio. Okay, what do you do if not the same number under the radical? Then it must be prime. Okay, if you did everything to break it down and it's already broken down to prime numbers, then it's prime. Prime example, no pun intended, is the square root of 10. You would think, oh, square root of 10, I can break that down. All right, what are you going to break it down with? 1 and 10. Okay, what else? 5 and 2. Yeah, 5 and 2. Well, guess what, boo-boo? 5 and 2, they're both prime numbers. Okay? So that means you can't get a perfect square root out of that. So that's why sometimes the square root of 10 is one of those special type of prime radicals. So like prime example will be square root of 6 is another one. Okay, square root of 15 is another one. Square root of 21 is another one. Because 21, that's 7 and 3. 15, that's 5 and 3. Okay, 6, that's 2 and 3. Okay, remember, 2 is the first prime number. All right. Okay, so does that make sense? I forgot who asked that question. Okay, so when you're adding and subtracting and you're dealing with radicals, you want to make sure you are breaking stuff down. You have to have the same radicals in order to combine. Okay, so there you go. All right. Okay. Oh, there you go. And I was like, there was someone. All right. Couple more. So again, have a lot of this. I'm going to try to do this one. Zoink. Up close in person now. Just going to put this up here just so it won't distract. Okay, so we have rationalized the denominator. Man, you guys are doing a lot. I know, it's a lot to take in. It is a lot to take in. But it's good to kind of refresh as best as we can. What about the radical of 100? What about the radical of 100? And these are really helpful reminders. Thank you. What about the radical? God's work. I appreciate you saying that. Who said God's work? I appreciate you. Because today, Matthew, woo. Sometimes I think he got me on hold. All right. So rationalize the denominator. You usually see that in Algebra 2, but this is definitely a question they like to slide in, especially for the ASVAB and for the ACCUPLACER, okay? Sometimes they might just throw one of these in there for GED, but I want to show you. If they do throw something like this in the GED, that's definitely a 4-point question, but I have yet to see that in there. So this is more like Algebra 2, ASVAB, which you start seeing that later on, just so you can raise that score up. All right, so rationalize. Think, if you want to be something rational, you usually want to like kind of calm somebody. Let's try to talk it out. Let's try to even things out here. What's going on? So what I'm doing with rationalizing that denominator, because I'm getting like a whole mixture, is I have a couple rules, or not me personally. There are a couple rules about radicals being in certain places. One, we don't want to have a radical in the denominator, okay? When we see that there is a radical or a square root or a cube root, any of those roots in the denominator, what you want to do is multiply the numerator and the denominator by that radical. Okay, so anytime you see a square root or any kind of root in the denominator and they say rationalize it, all you're basically doing is taking whatever that root is and you're multiplying. You're setting up a ratio, aka a fraction. Okay, the reason why is basically the same because we know anything divided by itself is 1. So it's not going to mess around with the value. We're just doing this so we can get rid of that square root in the denominator. So now it's going to look like this. Let me bring it down this way. So we have 4 times the square root of 6 over. Now, when you have radicals being multiplied, you can multiply what's called the radicand, the numbers. So basically, I have the square root of 6 times 6, which gives me 36. So I multiply the numerator, Radicals and whole numbers, they can get close together, but they can't date. Okay? Whereas radicals with radicals, they can date. They can do anything they want, right? So that's where the 6 times 6, that's where the 36 come from. Now, square root of 36, that's one of our perfects that we had up here. So the square root of 36 is 6. Oh, so that means, wow, we got rid of our radical in the denominator. So now what's left in the numerator is my 4 square root of 6. So you're probably looking at the answers and like, well, Audrey, I don't see it. Because just like any kind of fractions, we need to simplify. Okay? What number does 4 and 6 both have in common? Okay, you're working. You're so welcome, Simon. What number does 4 and 6 have in common? Okay, got my 2's. The reason why I can't combine these two is because the 4 is not under a radical. These are two separate worlds. Okay, you're looking at an integer being multiplied by an irrational number. Yeah, now. Okay? So we need to reduce it. So when we reduce it, we're basically dividing by what they have in common. So 4 divided by 2 will give me 2. Bring the square root of 6. And 6 divided by 2 is 3. So that's why my answer is A. Okay. I froze. Yeah, I'm telling you, there's something up with my internet. I don't know what's going on. So let me repeat. Let me see if I repeat. So first, we had to multiply the numerator and denominator by our radical. Okay, it doesn't matter what it is. Then when you multiply the 4 times the square root of 6, that's where the 4 square root of 6 come from. You can't intermingle those. Those are two separate worlds. Yeah, they're both real numbers, but they're two separate worlds. One's rational, one's irrational. But then down here, we have square root of 6 times square root of 6. So since they're both irrational numbers, you can multiply those. So 6 times 6, you still keep your square root of 36. Square root of 36 is one of those perfect square roots because that will give us 6. So now we can simplify the 4 and the 6 because they're both rational numbers, okay? So 4 and 6 are both even numbers, so that means they are divisible by 2. So if I do 4 divided by 2, it will give me 2. If I do 6 divided by 2, it will give me 3. So that means my simplest form by rationalizing that denominator is going to be 2 square root of 6 over 3. Okay. All right. So when all of this comes down to it, here's a little shortcut. Ready? I kind of like shortcuts. If you multiply, let's see if this will actually show. Okay, kind of will. If I multiply two radicals that are exactly the same, notice you get the answer of just the radicand without the radical. So square root of 7 times square root of 7, that normally would give me the square root of 49. Square root of 49, that gives me 7. So if you're multiplying the same radicals with the same radicands, it's just going to be that number without the square root. Okay? Is this good for SAT? Yeah. Yep, and that's coming up. Like less than a month. Well, no, about a month. And a couple change. Things still, no. Less than a month, because it's on the 14th. Okay? So, it doesn't even matter. If you say the square root of 3 times the square root of 3, your answer is going to be 3. All right. Okay, so showing you one more, and then we're going to skedaddle. Okay, or we're going to switch things up. Hold on. I feel like they're trying to do something, which is very weird. Okay, so we're going to try to solve this. Don't you do 4 times square root of 4? 4 times the square root of 4. Why? For which one? Okay, Prince. I don't know. TikTok wants to do something, but they're not doing something. So I don't know what to do here. I'm just going to keep on teaching. Because I cannot rely on TikTok what they're doing. All right. Let's see. Okay. All right. Y does need to equal to 1. What? No. Here it is. I knew it was trying to do something. Just taking its sweet time. Okay. Ooh, sorry about that. Like doing all kinds of crazy stuff going on over here. All right. So this time we're going to solve. So we have the square root of x plus 10 equals x minus 2. So we have a whole lot of D's. Yeah, it seems like my internet's all kinds of cray, my Wi-Fi. It's raining, so raining in Baltimore just doesn't work. Access all the notes, pay for your book, so seeing volumes and prices. I'll access all the notes. No, I don't do notes anymore. I used to do Audrey's notes. I don't do notes anymore. So like, will you allow access? So I'm trying to understand access to all the note if I pay for your book. So you'll have access to the notes of that volume. I think that's what you're asking for. All right. So how do we do this? All right. Well, what is the opposite? So let's start with that. What's the opposite of a square root? Okay, what's the opposite of a square root? Okay, all right, so Lulu's got squaring, we got cube, raised to the second power, we got square Carson, we got square. Okay, Ethan is square, Flag is square, Kanisa. So square it, square both sides. Yes, squaring. Aubrey, squaring. Yes. So the opposite, to get rid of the square root, I have to square it. Whatever I do on one side, I must do on the other side. The reason why I'm squaring, again, they're inverses of each other. So if they cancel out, what's left is going to be x plus 10 is equal to x minus 2 squared. Now, x minus 2 squared, that means x minus 2 times x minus 2. Okay, so that's what x minus 2 squared means. So when I do my distributive property, x times x gives me x squared. X times negative 2, that's a negative 2x. Negative 2 times x, that gives me a negative 2x. And negative 2 times negative 2 gives me a positive 4. So on this side of the equal sign, right here, we got like terms that we need to combine. So that means you'll have x plus 10 equals x squared minus 4x plus 4. Anytime you have an exponent that's to the second power, that means I'm going to need to factor and my equation should equal 0. Okay? So that means I'm going to subtract the x and I'm going to subtract the 10 on both sides. Reason why I'm not moving everything to the left is because I want the coefficient of that x squared to be 1, to be positive. So I have my 0 equals my x squared minus 5x minus 6. Because remember, when you're adding and you have the same signs, you keep the sign, add the numbers, and there's a 1 to assume to be there. When you have opposite signs, you're really subtracting, and you're taking the sign of the larger number, which is 10, so it's going to be negative. So now, let's factor. Okay, so when we factor, we're going to split our x's, and then we're also going to draw our x. So we need to think, what two numbers multiplied together will give me a negative 6, and add together will give me a negative 5. Got confused a bit? Okay. All right. Is this algebra or pre-algebra? This is close to algebra 2, because of the extent. Okay. So, first thing, we had to square both sides. Then we had to do the distributive property. So x times x gives me x squared. X times negative 2 gives me negative 2x. Negative 2 times x gives me negative 2x. And negative times a negative gives us a positive 4. Then I needed to move that x and that positive 10 over to the other side of the equal sign. So since it was a positive x, we had to subtract x. Since it was a positive 10, we had to subtract 10. So now we have x squared minus 5x minus 6. So like most of you guys are saying, all right, yeah. Well, negative 2 and negative 3, that gives me a positive 6. So you can't use negative 2 and negative 3 because we're looking for a negative 6. So if we use our 6 and 1, one of them has to be negative, and it's going to be the 6. There you go. All right. So, because negative 6 times 1 gives me negative 6, and negative 6 plus 1 gives me negative 5. So one parenthesis is going to have minus 6, and the other parenthesis is going to have a plus 1. Okay, so let me cover up to there. So since we're solving, we need to set each of the parentheses equal to 0. Okay, so this I'm going to add 6. So x is going to equal to 6 for that one. And this one I'm going to subtract 1. Always do the inverse when you're solving. Okay, so your answer is going to be a positive 6 and a negative 1. And the one that has that is C. Okay. Once you got to this point, you could look at your answer key or look at your answers. Obviously, it's not just going to be one number. Okay. And I know people say you should plug it in to see if it'll work. So if I plug the 6 in, I got 16. That's square root of 16 gives me 4. If I plug the 6 here, I got 6 minus 2. That gives me 4. So that works so far. If I plug the negative 1 in here, I still get a square root of 9. If I plug the negative 1 here, I get a minus 3. So it works. So it works for both answers. Okay. All right. So the X is for the AC method. AC method is used to do factoring. Yep. Okay. You're so cooked. You're like, I'm so done. Fried, died, laid to the side. That's how I feel right now. Okay. So we did a lot. So let's do some quick. Let's do a little bit of exponentials. Let's do it kind of quickly. Let's see what we can get. Okay. What's my answer? No, negative 1 is an extraneous solution. Only if it doesn't work on both sides. Okay. How can you purchase the book? The link is actually in my bio. So if you click on my name, Audrey Codner, or ACG Math Tutoring, there is a link. That's a link tree link. If you click on that, you'll see like everything. Okay. How do you do this? Okay, I'm going to show you in a few. Got you. Okay, so we got you. So we got our negative 64 y cubed, so negative 64. Oh yeah, because it did give me a negative 3. Okay, whoever said that, yeah, so negative 1 is extraneous, so it should be D for the last one. Should be D. You don't have to factor for this one. Okay, yep, raise everything to the third power. All right, so this is what's going to happen. So you are going to raise everything to the third power. So that negative 4 is going to be raised to the third power, and the y cubed is also going to be raised to the third power. Okay, so negative 4 cubed is the same as saying negative 4 times negative 4 times negative 4, which gives me a negative 64. And then you have your y cubed that comes on down. Okay, yep. So odd exponents are allowed to have, yep, you're going to have like a negative coming back out. Okay. All right. Okay, so let's try another one. Let's try this. What do you think? What do you think? Okay, and then you can put your answer in the chat. You're fried? Yeah, so am I. I'm definitely extra crispy. Okay, so we have 8x cubed, Alan with the 8x cubed, Flag with the 8x cubed. Okay, Rashawn with the 8x cubed, Trey squared with 8x cubed, NTN with the 6x cubed. You forgot? That's all right, Amanda. Right? Shoot. Moise is saying 8x cubed. Lisa G, 6x to the third, unpredictable, 8x cubed, 8x cubed, 8x cubed. All right. So, okay. All right, so now we got an 8x cubed. So we got James with the 8x cubed. So let's take a look. Okay, if you cube everything, so that means 2 to the third power, and also have x to the third power. So 2 to the third power, that's not 6. You're basically saying to your base, hey base, I need for you to multiply to yourself 3 times. So 2 times 2 gives me 4, and the 4 times 2 will give me 8. Okay. There we go. All right, so let's get a couple more in here. And let's try with this one. What do we got? Okay. All right, flag saying my x to the 10th, future monther. I'm saying x to the 7th, Peyton x to the 10th, Mako x to the 10th, x to the 10th, x to the 10th. But for the SAT, bring it on in. Here we go. It's all there right in the chat. So either you can do a digital copy or you can do a physical copy, which goes actually through the A. Okay. All right, you got to the x to the 10th, x to the 10th, x to the 64th, x to the 10th, x to the 10th. All right. Remember, when you see an exponent being raised with another exponent, we can multiply, okay, your exponents. Or you can write out that x to the second 5 times and then count how many 2's you will have. All right, so that will give us x to the 10th. All right, so let's try another one. Let's see what we got right here. Same like the others, yeah. So when you have an exponent being raised to an exponent, you multiply the exponents. But if it's just multiplication, you add them. Okay. All right. So we have 3w with 3 to the 6, 729 for not common, 343, 729, 3 to the 6, 9 to the 6th power, 3 to the 6th power, Lucas 3 to the 6, NT 3 to the 6, Mitch 64. DC Dude, 729. A big G Money saying 9 raised to the 6th. Amber is saying 3 to the 6th. Okay, so there's a battle between 9 to the 6th and 3 to the 6th. How does this help you in life? I don't know what you want to do with life, Bam. Bam, what you want to do? Okay, damage not broken, so 9 to 2nd. All right, so let's see. All right, so we have 3 to the 3rd power. Okay, if you want, we can do that inside first, or we can do 3 to the 6th. Okay, so 3 to the 6th will give us our 729. So this is what's happening. When you have an exponent being raised to an exponent, you can multiply the exponents. So it's really 3 to the 6th power. Now, for some that were telling me 9, remember, it's 3 raised to the 3rd power. This is not 3 times 3. This is saying 3 times 3 times 3. Okay, so that's looking at 27 raised to the 2nd power. Okay, which will give us our 729. Okay. All right, so let's see. I was like, no. You got it. Let's go. What is this? 4x raised to the 0. Ooh, what is this? Okay. Okay, so I got some ones, I got grills with the 4, I got 1s, 1, 1, 0, 1, 1, 1. I feel like I'm doing a binary code right now. Feel like I'm in the Matrix. All right, so we got some 1s. Add, multiply, subtract, and divide. Yep. But when you have a power being raised to a power, Jacinda, you multiply the exponents. Okay. All right, so I got some 0s, I got some x's, I got some 0s, got 1s, got 42. 42? Okay, that's interesting. I know it's like 1 1 1 1 0 0 0 1 1 1 0 0. Okay, Miss Beautiful saying 0. Raz is saying 0. Coffee is saying 0. All right, so we got our 1s. All right, so here is the big reveal. Anything raised to the 0 power. Notice the whole expression here is inside of a parenthesis. So that means everything inside of here is being raised to the 0 power, and it equals 1. Okay? Anything raised to the 0 power gives you 1. Okay? So it's 1, it's 1, it's 1. All right? All right? No kidding. That's okay. I know, that was definitely ASVAB. That's why I make these cards, people. That's why I do this. All right, so let's try this. Anything raised to 0 power is a 1. It is not 0. It always has to have a star. Ever hear of the fiction? I always say this guy's name so wrong. Fibonacci. I'm not even gonna try because I'm gonna mess it up. I can see the spelling of it. I just cannot pronounce it right now. My brain is shutting down. So let's see what we got here. 4 to the 3rd divided by 4 to the 5th. Okay. All right. So we got our 1/4, 1/4, 1/4. We got 1/16, 1/16. We got 1/4 raised to the 2nd power. We got 16. We got 1/16. We got 4 raised to the negative 2nd power. We got 1/16. We got 5/8. You're seated with this. All right. We got negative 16. We got 16. 4 raised to the negative 2nd power. We got 4. We got 1/16 with Francis. We got Michelle with 1/4 raised to the 2nd power. Unpredictable life. I got 1/16. All right. Got a whole bunch of 1/16. A lot of 4s raised to the negative 2nd power. Hey, Fritz. Welcome back. We have future. We got 1/16. So 4 on the right. Okay. So let's break it on down. So if anything, they have the same base. Okay. You don't have to say, all right, what's 4 to the 3rd power and divide that by 4 to the 5th power, because then remember the GED, the ASVAB, the ACCUPLACER, you cannot use a calculator. Okay, so you are going to have to do a lot of mental math, and especially writing things down as a scribble. Also, if you're doing a PERT test for, I think Florida does the PERT test, and that's coming up, you cannot use a calculator for it. Or you can use a calculator for that. You just can't. What they can use? They can use paper. There we go. But they give you a tablet sometimes. Now, 4 to the 3rd power. Let me write it out. So 4 to the 3rd power, that's the same as saying 4 times 4 times 4. And that is over 4 to the 5th power, which is 4 times 4 times 4 times 4 times 4. So if I do 4 divided by 4, that gives me 1. And then I do 4 divided by 4, that gives me 1. And then 4 divided by 4, that gives me 1. So what's left in the numerator is a 1. So now here I have 1 over 4 times 4. Now 4 times 4, that gives me 16. So for those that know how to do it, knowing that 4 to the 3rd power divided by 4 to the 5th power, if you have that same base, you subtract your exponents. So that will give you 3 minus 5, which a lot of you did get the negative 2. But like most math, they do not like to keep your answer with the negative as an exponent. So what's going to happen is we're going to have to make this into a fraction. And what we're going to do is we're going to drop that whole expression in the denominator. By dropping it into the denominator, you're making that exponent turn positive. Okay? So we can't leave it with a negative exponent. We're going to have to do the drop. So even if it was in the bottom, let me finish this out before I confuse people. If I said, just putting this out there, this is something separate. If I said 2 over x raised to the negative 6th. If the negative exponent is down in the denominator, that means I need to bring it up in order for me to get it positive. Okay? So if it's on top, it drops to the bottom to make positive. It's on the bottom, it goes to the top to make it positive. Okay? But but if you have time to do the expanded form, that's fine. Okay? You know that if I subtract 5 and 3, I'm going to have 2 left over down in the denominator. So instead of you dealing with the negative exponents, you can think of it that way. All right. Okay. Do I teach juniors? Of course. All right. So we got all of that. And I forgot to show you on the back of the card. There you go. That will be kind of useful. All right. So if anything, this is what I have. And I actually have a whole bunch of these exponent ones. They're inside. I use it as a gift, but I also have a digital copy of it that's inside the first volume of my Algebra at Your Pace. Okay, so I just use it as a gift. So I give you like all the extras. Again, you can photocopy it. You can rip it out of the book. Have fun with it, whatever. You just fold right here at the dotted line. Okay, you can obviously, cut that part out. But then you can have it as like little flashcards. If you're a homeschool parent or if you're just a student and you just need some extra practice and you just want to deal with flashcards, you have something physically in your hand. That's why sometimes, I don't know, a lot of people love to say, oh, I just want to learn using my phone. Yeah, but you use your phone all the time, so your brain doesn't know the difference. So that's why I have my volume 1 with the integers, decimals, and exponents. Volume 2, which are functions, ratios, order of operations, because a lot of us still need to do that. I also have cards to represent that as well. Okay, I'm going to show you that in a second. So then we have volume 3, which is solving equations. Okay, anything with 1-step, 2-step. Okay, multi-step equations with multiplication, division. Okay, so obviously later on, instead of you guys keep scanning all these QR codes, I just basically made one QR code. You scan it and you get access to all the instructions of all of the stuff in this volume. Okay, so 1-step, 2-step equations, solving with the variables on both sides of the equal sign. Okay, solving with like terms. So, and plus you get a lot of practice. And at the end, close to the end, there is a quiz. So you can figure out, all right, did I really learn something? Okay, and I do give you answers, but if you want like step-by-step instruction answer keys, that's an additional markup of $5.99 that I will give you the answers of all of the quizzes and the extra practice problems. So I can actually show you. It's like you getting me as your tutor without you paying the tutor price. That's just how I see it. Okay, linear equations, anything with slope. Okay, all of my GED and ASVAB people, listen up. If you're good with everything else, but you're still not getting that test, it's because you're not doing with the slope. You need this one. I wish I had this one when I was in school. Okay, not only do you get like some of the graph work, some of the practice, you got me breaking it down step by step. You can pause me. You can rewind me. You can play it at 2 o'clock in the morning. You can play it at, 7 o'clock at night, whatever you want. Okay, so anything dealing with slope, the equation of the line, point slope, they're all in here. This is definitely the one. And if you want to go to volume 5 and 6, this is when it deals with system of equations, system of inequalities, absolute values. Okay, again, all of those, how to break it down, how to do the shading, everything is all in here. And each of the volumes you all get basically all the resource pages that you're going to need to help you with this volume. So it's not like, okay, yeah, go ahead, defend for yourself. Okay, looking at all the different linear and quadratic equations, looking at the discriminant, all right, looking at properties of exponents, order of operations, okay, especially when you get later on. Okay, graphing the linear inequalities. Then also, I just added the interval notation because I know there's some people that are in class that are currently learning the linear equations. So, and then recently I do have a new one at 7 and 8 that just got released, and I'm working on volume number 11 as we speak. So you can go to the link in my bio. All right, here are the prices, just so I'm going to be as very transparent. If you're not sure which book you want to buy, you can just message me. Message me, tell me your situation, and I'll tell you what it is. So if you want the physical book, it's going to be $24.99 because one, ink costs money, especially color ink, okay? And then plus, well, the QR codes I have in there. But you can get the same copy as a digital copy, and you can get that immediately. Get that right here, right now. Don't have to wait for shipping or any of that. Then, if you want some of the flashcards, like some of my flashcards, a lot of them are digital. So if you liked these flashcards that we have right here with the exponents, yeah, you can get your own, all right? And another one that we have, and all the link is definitely in my bio. So if anything, we also have this book, which this book, it kind of gives me how to evaluate. So it gives me more flashcards, gives me more problems. This book right here has over like 300 problems. Okay, so not only does it have like you doing the evaluation, then it gives you solution cards. And you can just play the matching game. So now you know, all right, do I really know how to do this? But of course, after every section, I do give you an answer key. So you're not by yourself. So you know which card is going to be which answer. All right. So we have that. We have the solving ones, which also comes with answer cards, and as well as simplifying. Okay. This is your order of operations section. So if you need more practice with order of operations, it's all in one book. You can just rip it out the book. You can laminate them if you have a laminator. You can make copies of them. You can give it to your staff. Oh, hey, do what you got to do, boo-boo, in order for you to pass this test. Okay? So that's in there as well. What do I recommend? That's going to be up to you. What do you recommend? What works best for you? Because I don't want to say, like, for me, I'd be like, hey, I'm making the money. I could be like, yeah, buy the physical book. But if you rather do it digital and you print out what you want, you can do that. Because once you get the link, you got the link. Okay, you got it for life. You can pass it over. So where is the book? Most of the time, mines are housed right now under the A. I can't say the name, but you know, the A with the brown box with the smile on face. Okay. Yeah, so right now, I used to have another area, but I'm still working on that. Here's another one for formulas, review cards. There's a lot of formulas, just in case you haven't figured it out. So I decided to make some review cards that's going to help you with some of the formulas that you're going to use. And for the GED, the ASVAB, the ACCUPLACER especially, a lot of the stuff is the same. Again, I added the exponential flashcards in there, just as a little free gift. But I also give like an answer key to it. So you have all the cards. So if anything, you can do this. So I just print mine up, then I have it. So simple interest. I'm like, okay, which is formula for simple interest? Sorry, of the glare. Okay, so that means here's the formulas for simple interest. If I do this, what is this? Okay, go ahead, message me. Please do. Yes, it is comprised of arithmetic, reasoning, and algebra. Lots of algebra. So that's generally your ASVAB. Okay. What does this look like? Did I chase everybody away? Or people just not too sure? Okay. Thanks for the follows, everyone. I appreciate it. And the likes. My goodness. Thank you. Yes. Hey, Cloudy. How are you, my dear? Yes. No, we're here? Okay. Yes. DC Dude. Order of operations. Yes. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally if you're here in the U.S. Or BOMDAS if you're international. Okay. But see, I have a lot of these flashcards. Like, you physically have the cards in your hands. So then you're going to be like, all right, area of a rectangle. What is that? Oh, it's length times width or base times height, depending on how people do it. Now, when I see this, what do I see? I see distance, speed, and time. So this is used for calculating the distance, rate, or time. Perfect. Okay, and sometimes I give you some blank ones if you need to make your own. All right. All right, you want this book? Go ahead. Go into the chat. Guys, I'm not holding you back. Go into my bio. Go into the link tree. I finally decided to put a link tree so it can go directly to it. All right, and then it'll give you some more information. Now, it's probably going to ask you for your email because just in case I release another book, you'll be able to get on my email list, and then I'll be like, hey, how you doing? Or it's also great that I do get your email. Do I email you every day? No. My God, we got things to do, right? But sometimes, like, especially if you're doing the digital copy, a lot of people will forget to stop at the thank you page because that's where the link is. Okay, so if you are going to do the digital copy, make sure you take a look at the thank you page. That's where the link is for your digital copy. All right. And sometimes people forget. And then I get a message like, Audrey, I don't know where the link is. So because now I have your email, I can email it directly to you. See, I don't like to abuse anything. All right. So this is what you're going to see for the link in the bio. So anything with the algebra at your pace. There's a bunch of other flashcard books that I have that you can use. I also have my own math notebook. So if anyone just wants some organization and they can get their math notebooks, I will show you that. So for your math notebook, so I just basically give you the sections. You can write your formulas on one side, your steps, and then you can write all the information here. You can do like a little tracker, see how you're doing before the lesson, during the lesson, after the lesson, and then everything is almost like graphs because before you know it, we're always doing some kind of graph. And then of course at the back end, again, here's all my resources. Here's that factor sheet that I was talking about. Okay, if you're doing Algebra 2 or pre-calculus, you're going to probably hit the conic section and also the unit circle. Okay, so some of my geometry people. Okay, so a lot of those resources are on the back of some of these books. Okay, so this is just a notebook that you're going to need to organize. All right, so everything's there. You really want to pass the ASVAB? Of course you do. Of course you do. You want to get yourself a better life. That's why I feel like when I say this, I'm going to speak on honesty. Okay, I'm going to speak on my truth. I wish I had these books when I was growing up. I am not a genius. I was never just born a genius. I had to work to pass for my classes. I used to suck at math, hardcore. Like, if you saw a fraction, nope, not doing it. If I saw a word problem, not doing it. Hell no, moving on. I was very similar to most of you guys. I had that thing called, if I see a math problem, I get nervous. If I see a fraction or a decimal, I got nervous. So what these workbooks really do is help not only to build your content knowledge and lessen that math phobia, but to build your confidence back up. We all struggled with it. One minute we were doing numbers in class, and next thing you know, there was letters and numbers, and we were like, wait, what is this about? And no one really took the time to break it down. So we had to either just try to figure our way out, go survival mode, cheat, right? Until you graduated, and then now all of a sudden you got kids and they're asking you, how do you do this? You graduated from high school, and you're just like, oh dear God. And you don't want to tell your kids that I just did not do well, because they're looking up to you to do stuff. So this is all the time. Have you tutoring as well? Yep, I do tutoring. My tutoring sessions are $87 an hour. Okay, they're very expensive, and they're worth every single dollar or cent to it. There's a lot of people that have raised their scores, but if anything, if you want, that's too much because that's not part of your funds. Hey, I get it. Get the book. You're basically going to get me as a tutor at any time that you want. Now we don't have to arrange for a time period. Okay. Yep, you're here to learn. Awesome. Okay. So again, this is where we're at. If you have any questions, hey, go ahead, ask me. If there's something that you're like, oh, I wish there was more of this. I do not do calculus. That is not my thing. I tried to get a lot of calc people on here on TikTok because I'm telling you, everybody's always asking for them. But if anything, go ahead, check out more of the resource pages. And then I'm going to have enough that's going to cover everything. So like some of the other pages that I have, almost forgot about this. If you need practice with your squares and your cubes and you need flashcards for that, I got that. We have verbal to algebraic math cards, multiplying and dividing integers. If that's not your thing, I got that. Those books are thicker than a Snicker. And if you don't want to buy the algebra at your pace workbooks, you can buy the resource books. So all of the formulas that I have on there, the factor sheet, all of that is all wrapped up in one book. So you can purchase that as well. All right. Okay. I'm exhausted. I don't know about you guys, but I'm ready to pass out. So it's been a day. But if you guys have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. Oh, thank you. Don't hesitate to ask because I want you to achieve greatness. I want math not to be a barrier for you. I want you to be like, you know what? I've seen this before and I can figure it out versus what the hell is this? I don't know what this is. I don't want that for you. Okay. If you're thinking about going back to school and you need help with college algebra, I know the spring semester is going to be coming up rather quickly. Okay. I helped a couple people for the winter semester and they did rather well. So if you need any help, hey, Sharice, how are you? Hey. I don't know if you're still here or not. Sorry, I just saw you. But if you do need some guidance, I basically do 7th grade up to adults. But if you have anybody that's younger, I do have friends that tutor as well. So if you need some assistance for someone younger, even English, math, science, just let me know. And if anything, there are a couple other people that will be great for you guys to follow depending on what you're coming to TikTok for. So Impact Math, she also does the GED, the ASVAB, and she does worksheets and tutoring. So very similar to me because there's going to be some days I can't come on TikTok. I can tell you right here and now, Wednesday is one of those days. I will try my hardest to see if I can get on here on Tuesday, but it's going to be earlier. If you are trying to go into nursing, a blessed RN, she is awesome. Okay, especially with the doses calculations, we definitely want to make sure we got that down packed. We don't want to kill anybody. All right. Professor TK for chemistry. If you know anyone that's taking chemistry this year and they're struggling, she is amazing. Okay, she knows how to break down the stuff and she knows her stuff. Then learning with Lynette, that's my friend Lynette, that is basically taking the world over by bringing in the abacus, okay? Breaking down, especially getting those foundational skills, that's really going to help not only kids, but also adults. So definitely check her out. All right, my friend Andy, love his watches. He has great content. And if you want anything for calculus or above, go ahead and reach out to Mr. M. Okay, he definitely does like pre-calc and calculus. I do up to calculus as well. Okay, pre-calc actually. Yes, Cloudy, she is all there. Any teachers for reading or language? Just message me, Sony, message me, because I do have some, but a lot of them are not on TikTok because they're too scared. It's crazy. Like, are you serious? All right. Okay, you need my support? Okay. All right. So yeah, it's just called like, and you let me know like what age group. So if you do message me, don't just say hi because I'm going to delete it. Tell me what you need, because time is very precious to me lately. Okay. All right. All right. So if you have any questions, go ahead and reach out. Do not hesitate. Don't buy anything if you have questions. I don't want you to buy with a question in your heart. If you have a question and you need some assistance, message me, okay? Put in a request. I'm always looking at my request files, and so I can reassure you before you start investing any money into anything, okay? And I know most people be like, Audrey, you need to shut up and just let people buy stuff. No, that's not me. I want you to buy it because you want to buy it. I want you to support it as much as you can. And then give me some time, because here's the next thing. Please follow me here. Okay, follow me here if you're not already. You can also follow me here. I can't say the name, but you can go to Audrey Codner. Just do a search. Follow me there. So when I upload any new books, you'll be the first to know. And then also all my replays are here. Okay, so give me some time to upload this one because sometimes it takes a bit. But definitely go to ACG Math Tutoring. All right. And then tell everybody about me. Like, oh, I was just on the live, like this was really fun. Or I was just in a live and like, oh, she knows this stuff. Or just in a live and that girl is crazy. So whichever you want, because that's the only way that I can grow. It's nice for the likes to bring people in, but the only way that I can grow, thank you, is by word of mouth from you guys. It can't just keep coming from me. Because it just sounds like I'm being a narcissist. Like, oh, I'm wonderful. I'm amazing. Like a walking affirmation, I'm just great. Okay. So again, if you need me, just message me. I'm going to end this live. Thank you for your time and your attention. And I know it's going to be time for a lot of people to go back to work tomorrow. That's all right. Go back with a smile. Don't let anything hold you back. Don't let anything hold you down. Because you're important. You need to be here. I'm glad that you took a moment away from your life to share with me. So I'm going to tell you, I feel privileged. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Yes, you too, Cloudy. Enjoy your evening, everyone. And I will see you tomorrow. It might definitely be, it will definitely have to be mad early. Because it can't be late. But I'll see what I can do. All right. So go ahead and follow me. And I will see you guys next time. Take care. Have a great night.